So I'm gonna do a movie review again. I think I haven't done one since June. Yeah, it's been since June. I haven't done movie reviews for a while, mostly because, well, quarantine, movies on around, and I've been really wanting to focus on hip-hop because that's what I'm interested in currently. It'll change over time, obviously, because I'm still a kid, but I'm still going to review a lot of hip-hop. But when there's a movie coming up that I'm really interested by and I've already hyped up on this channel, I'm a review, you know? I don't care that a lot of my new fans are rap fans. I want to review this new Nolan movie. Why not? I've been wanting to see this movie for like 2 years. I've never actually had the chance to see a Nolan movie in theaters, so I've seen one. I want to talk about it. So Tenet released Friday. I didn't get to see it for a couple days. One, because Detroit 2, I wanted to review that. Two, because I had other personal issues, but I actually wanted to review this in good lighting. I have weird lighting right now, and it's not because it's late in the day. I have this light on, which I don't usually have on in these reviews. I usually have my window open. Problem is, though, is that the sky is orange right now because anybody who's unaware, I live in Colorado. So anybody who knows right now what's in Colorado, half the freaking state's on fire. So now there's just smoke and ash everywhere. And I don't even live close to the fire. It's like 2 hours away. It takes me a while to drive to it, but yeah, it's like just the sky's just filled with smoke. It's like orange. It's weird. But I'm gonna review Tenet now. I'm not gonna do any intros or anything I used to do. I'm just gonna discuss the movie. I'll give it an out of 10 rating at the end. This is a new movie from Christopher Nolan, a director whom I wouldn't put it past saying he's one of the greatest to ever do it. And there's a couple reasons why. Number one, I think The Dark Knight is the greatest movie ever made. But also beyond just that, this is a movie that has had, it's by Nolan. Nolan is the guy who created, he created The Dark Knight, the whole trilogy, Dark Knight trilogy. He created Inception, Memento, Interstellar, most recently Dunkirk, and now Tenet, sorry. This was interesting to me, and it was mostly interesting to me because seeing Nolan take on a really cool or creative concept or just broad idea is something I like him to do, and especially when it comes down to what he's done in the past. A lot of his movies have a very strong gimmick to them, Inception being about traveling inside of dreams, Interstellar being about traveling into space. This one has to do with time, but it's not really time travel. I don't really know if I can explain it better than the movie can, but essentially the premise is kind of certain objects are reversed in time, meaning their actions are going in reverse right now. For instance, if I just put my hand over something, it will come to my hand if I say I'm going to drop it. Then I already dropped it, so now it works in reverse. That probably makes no sense, but if you've seen the movie, it makes more sense. But I've just been so excited for this movie for a lot of reasons. One, just because it's Nolan, but also this seemed like the movie that would reopen theaters. It would give us new movies to come out. It was the newest movie to come from, out of quarantine happening, and now finally this. It made me very excited. It made me very entertained and very just interested to hear and see what Tenet was bringing to the table. The trailers were really cool. The cast is great. The premise just seems well done and cool. And as I started from the bat, let's talk about the acting in this. It's all obviously great. It's nothing on this is like amazing because I don't think this movie really requires like 10 out of 10 performances, but they're all really good. They're all very strong. The actors feel like they're very in it. They feel like they want to be there. I really like John Davis Washington as the main character. I feel like he fit that role well. Side characters, Robert Pattinson was good. One girl, I can't remember her name. She was really great, actually. She's probably my favorite performance of the movie. I felt like none of these actors needed to do much other than just be good at action stunts. But in terms of actual acting and things like that, they didn't require much from them, but they did it well and they pulled off the movie. So it felt like it was real. The selling point for this movie, though, is without question the visuals and action. This is some of the coolest action I think I've literally ever seen, and that's not a stretch. This is amazing action. The way he's able to make the action work in reverse and then work forward, the way we see it flip around in perspectives, the way there are fights where a character will fight another character, one character's in reverse from the other. I don't know how you film stuff like this, but it's amazing. There are some scenes where we'll be walking around, just the whole world will be in reverse. I don't know how you do that, but seriously, it was so well pulled off. I cannot tell you how much I loved the whole reverse gimmick. I feel like that was done very well. And it was explained to the point where, while it was still a little confusing by the end, I understood it to the point where the plot made sense. And I can't even really state that the plot 100% makes sense. It mostly makes sense, for the most part, Towards the end, I was a little kind of lost with what was going on. That's because Nolan has the tendency to make the score way too loud to the point where a lot of the dialogue isn't hearable. There's this Russian character in the movie that always talks in a very soft Russian voice. There's some scenes where he's talking and I can tell dialogue's important. I just can't hear him. Maybe it's because my theater speakers were bad, or maybe it's just because Nolan wanted to base that music. It's a great score, by the way. It was an amazing score. Probably the best I've seen all year, but I felt like Nolan just really wanted that score, but he wanted that dialogue, and I just didn't process a lot of the dialogue. A second watch, I'll process more. But anyway, the plot in this movie, well, I don't want to tell you what the plot is, but I thought the action and all that was very well handled. There's always so much depth within a Nolan film, that cinematography. The look of every shot feels like it's grand, it's epic, it's larger than life, and I really enjoy that. This movie feels grounded, but it doesn't feel grounded to the point where it feels it feels realistic. There is not one effect in this movie that looks bad. I felt like when they're wrecking a plane into an airport, it's very likely they didn't wreck a plane into an airport, but it freaking looked like it. It looked great. Other scenes where they blow up a building, it looked like they blew up a building. It didn't just look like some dumb effects. And that's mostly because I think as much as he can, Nolan will not use effects until it's really just unnecessary. I highly doubt there was much effects in this besides editing effects of actually just reversing footage. When it comes down to it, though, I do have one main issue with Tenet, which makes this a lot weaker than other Nolan films for me, which was the plot. Not the plot. Well, the plot was entertaining. It was engaging. I felt invested. It was more that emotional side to this. Because I feel like what Nolan's always been very able to do is create the cool concept, get the good visuals, but also get the good plot out there. That's why, in my opinion, I keep bringing them back, but Interstellar and Inception are masterpieces to me because they bring that, like, introspective, like, emotional side to it, too. The characters in those movies are incredibly engaging, and they have very profound and interesting backstories. Inception being about letting go of your past and stop holding on to things in your mind, and he literally has to let go of that. And in Interstellar, he has to choose a great sacrifice of save my family or save the world. And by the end, he gets to... I'm not even going to tell you how Interstellar ends in case nobody's seen it, but there's always that emotional side to this. Really wasn't there in Tenet. I feel like this main character, I don't even really know what he's about. I don't know what his backstory. He's just a spy. He's just part of the CIA. What's Robert Pattinson's character? I don't know. He just shows up a bit. What about all these other characters? They just kind of show up and they kind of do their thing. It's not bad, but it creates a disconnect of emotion that you have with Inception and Interstellar that you don't have with this one. Now you can make the argument, what about Dunkirk? Dunkirk doesn't have that emotional connection to them. Dunkirk doesn't require that as much because it's about a real-life battle, a very terrifying real-life battle. That emotional connection just comes off of the fact that this isn't a spy movie. That was a war movie. It was a war movie about just a terrible, and not even terrible event, actually kind of great event. It kind of turned the war around. But in that sense, that movie doesn't need that emotional connection. Tenet does. Tenet is a spy movie. You could also make the argument, what about Mission Impossible? There is actually an emotional connection to Mission Impossible. I know Ethan Hunt. I know what he's about. I know his personality. I know Luther's personality. I don't know them as well as I do other characters, but I'm connected enough where I can call Fallout a masterpiece and I can't call Tenet a masterpiece. Tenet, in a lot of ways, feels like it's begging for more. Like it's begging for more backstory, more character development, more general emotional connection to it. Not saying that it's a bad movie, it's just that it required more than that. Makes me interested to see if we get a sequel, because if they have a sequel, they don't have to explain the premise. They can spend the entire 2.5 runtime building up backstory, building up character, maybe focusing more on Robert Pattinson's character. They can do that with a sequel. For now, though, Tenet is a very entertaining. It's never boring to me. I really would like to see this again. It had fast-paced action. The plot was engaging, thoroughly entertaining. A couple points, you do really get lost in it, but by the end, I was like, okay, I understood mostly what happened in that. I'll go see it again to make sure I really know how I feel on this. But overall, Tenet was an enjoyable experience. It's not one of the best Nolan films, probably definitely in the lower half for me, but lower half Nolan is still great. So I think Tenet's a great movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It's just not as good as some other Nolan films. I'm going with an 8 out of 10. Not a perfect score, but it ended up being enjoyable the whole way through, and I was happy with what I got. How y'all feeling on Tenet? Do you guys like it? Do you guys hate it? Hopefully you don't hate it. Let me know in the comment section below. I'll be dropping a 6.9 review soon. I don't want to. I haven't heard it yet. I really don't want to hear it. I listened to Dummy Boy for the first time the other day. So terrible. See you guys next time. Bye.